Today we are working Psalm 12. In traditional psalm magic, Psalm 12 is used frequently to overcome gossip and slander, alleviate anxiety, to protect from oppression and also overcome oppression, and for general protection. It's also used to avoid becoming abandoned. And today I'm going to focus on alleviating anxiety. Remember that one of the mysteries and secrets of psalm magic is ultimately any psalm can be used for any purpose. It's just that some psalms seem to be very direct for certain subjects and topics, but any psalm will get you there eventually. You just may take the scenic route. The way we work psalm magic is simple, easy, and effective. We take the psalm that we're working and we speak it out loud all the way through once without stopping. This is commonly called an incantation. Once we've finished with that incantation, we go back through the psalm and we consider each verse in turn, and we search for hidden, occult meanings that lie behind each verse. And we try, to the very best of our ability, to apply what we find in the psalm to the situation at hand. By doing this, we're taking those magic seeds that we discover in the psalm and planting them in the fertile grounds of our deep mind, where they take root, they grow, they blossom forth, and they bear fruit after their kind. And that is exactly what we are going to do right now with Psalm number 12. Help, Lord, for the godly man ceaseth, for the faithful fail from among the children of men. They speak vanity, every one with his neighbor. With flattering lips and with a double heart do they speak. The Lord shall cut off all flattering lips, and the tongue that speaketh proud things. Who have said with our tongue we will prevail, our lips are our own. Who is Lord over us? For the oppression of the poor, for the sighing of the needy, now will I arise, saith the Lord. I will set him in safety from him that puffeth at him. The words of the Lord are pure words, as silver tried in a furnace of earth, purified 7 times. Thou shalt keep them, O Lord, thou shalt preserve them from this generation forever. The wicked walk on every side when the vilest men are exalted. It's especially important in this particular time in which we're living that we have operations for relieving anxiety, because anxiety never helps anything. Living in a time when anxiety is at a peak, one of the best things we can do for ourselves and those around us is to alleviate that anxiety. It starts out by saying, Help, Lord, for the godly man ceaseth, for the faithful fail from among the children of men. The first thing we're doing is we're calling out to the Lord. In the ancient Hebrew scriptures, whenever it says the tetragrammaton, the King James Version of the Bible always translates that as Lord. And it's important to notice that because in the Psalms, very frequently, the tetragrammaton is used as an utterance of a holy name in order to raise energy. When it says Lord, that's really what it's doing. It's calling on the infinite and it's raising the energy from that. Now, for us as magicians, we understand that this tetragrammaton, this Lord, is a symbol for the one power, the one source, the one force, the one substance in all the universe, and there is none other. And anything that this force is for, nothing can be against. One with this force is always a majority. So by calling upon this Lord, we are doing our part, because one of the qualities of this force is that of responsiveness. But it doesn't come without being invoked. It must be invoked because of our own free will that we were granted. We have the freedom to experience whatever we desire. It's like the prime directive in Star Trek. Nobody is going to come and mess with us from the higher planes, especially not the one power of the entire universe. However, when we invoke that power, it's there for us. And that's exactly what we're doing now. Help, Lord, for the godly man ceaseth. Did the godly man cease? Is anything good? Or is it just bad news after bad news after bad news and nothing good is happening anywhere? For the faithful fail from among the children of men. Even the ones that we put our faith in have failed us. And we are constantly being failed. And therefore, we need help because this is causing great anxiety. They speak vanity, every one with his neighbor. With flattering lips and with a double heart do they speak. It's important that we first look at the world and we notice that there are lies upon lies that are being told, both in our personal lives and globally. Everyone is lying to their neighbor, and nobody is being neighborly whatsoever. Everyone is perpetuating the big lie of the ego, the big lie that we're separate, that we are doomed, that we are here to fail, that nothing good can come to us, and that we are on a toboggan ride to destruction. And of course, that makes us feel anxious. That makes us feel extremely anxious. And when we look inwardly, we recognize that the source of all of that is the ego mind itself, because the ego mind is based on that one thought, I am separate. And so everything that comes out of that one thought of I am separate is then projected onto the screen of space and reflected back to us so that we can see it. Now, if we believe the voice that's lying to us inwardly, and thus believe the images that we are interacting with on the screen of space, then we have no choice but to feel anxious. Anxiety is a byproduct of living in a lie, living in a false world. The Lord shall cut off all flattering lips, and the tongue that speaketh proud things. The flattering lips, in this case, are talking about not only from internally, but externally, hearing things that we think we want to hear versus the truth. I want to hear what I want to hear, and I don't want to hear the truth. That manifests itself in this day and age in having our own partisan news channels and our own little websites and our own little books. We are all dialed into making sure that we hear flattering lips and we don't hear the truth. That's just a manifestation of what's going on internally. The ego is lulling us to sleep with flattering lips. The ego likes to whisper and flatter to us all the things that puff up our own personal ego and our senses and gratify us in order that we be distracted from that which is important. That can be sexual thoughts, negative thoughts about how you hate somebody or how right you are and how wrong they are. That's all flattering lips, and it's all there to distract you from the truth. Because the infinite doesn't need to flatter you, because the infinite knows who you are as a soul. The soul doesn't need to be flattered. The soul knows who it is. The soul doesn't need to be told, oh, you're so wonderful. It knows it's wonderful. Just like you don't need to tell God, you're so wonderful. God knows God's wonderful. It's only the ego that needs to be told, you're so wonderful. And the ego likes to hear you're so wonderful in very sick ways. So what are all the ways that we are willing to be distracted from the truth by our own egos and from the world? The Lord shall cut that all off. The Lord shall cut off all flattering lips, and the tongue that speaketh proud things. Now, the tongue that speaketh proud things in the world, you can hear that all over the place. I'm right about this, I'm right about that. Let me post what I had for breakfast, isn't that important? All of those proud things where we are puffing our own self up as being something that is more important than everything else. Very frequently, the way we puff ourselves up is by showing how special we are in that we don't have enough. We are so poor, we are so broke, we are so sick, we are so despondent, we never have anything work out for us. That's another way to puff ourselves up. The Lord cuts all of that off, and that's really good news. We want to have all of that arrogance cut off, because really the ultimate arrogance is of the ego, thinking that it can be special, it can be different from everybody else. Now, that's not the same thing as being unique, because you can't help being unique. Nobody is like you. Your soul is so unique. It's already got its own soul print, just like you've got a thumbprint. Nothing can change that. But the way that the ego wants you to be unique is to prove that you are not perfect, to prove that you're not good enough. Because if the infinite made you perfect, If the infinite expressed perfection as you, what's the way that you can prove that you're separate from that? By proving how not good enough you are. By proving how bad you are in some cases. Sometimes it's as simple as, I don't measure up, and it can be very extreme. I'm the Antichrist incarnate. Those kinds of ideas of how bad we are or how not good enough we are the ultimate arrogance. And the infinite is going to cut that off as well, especially now that we've asked for it. Who have said with our tongue, we will prevail, our lips are our own, who is Lord over us? Let's look at the ego first. That's what the ego does. Every iteration of the voice of the ego is something to reinforce the idea that you're not good enough, that you're separate from perfection, that you are not a soul that is an extension of the infinite, that you are separate, that you are alone, that you are vulnerable, that you have a reason to be afraid. And then out in the world, we see that as well. We see people that are arrogant saying, oh, who's Lord over us? Those kinds of people are listening to that voice of fear as well, which is, by the way, where we can get some compassion for people, even those horrible people that seem to cause generational damage. That also comes from a sense of fear. That comes from the voice of fear and the voice of the ego. They need to do what they're doing in order to prove whatever these lies are from the ego that they're dealing with. I know that's not comfort sometimes when you're being abused by somebody, but at least it contextualizes it so that you can understand this is a person that's dealing with sickness, not pure evil. No matter who it is, it's sickness. For the oppression of the poor, for the sighing of the needy, now will I arise, saith the Lord. In other words, all you had to do was ask. All you had to do was ask. I'm going to do that now that you've asked me to. I am going to take care of your oppression. I am going to take care of your needs. And I'm arising now because you invoked me. I will set him in safety from him that puffeth at him. In other words, I can remove that ego mind straight from you if you'll allow me to do that. But we're afraid that without the ego, we're nothing. If we don't have our ego, we will cease to exist. But the voice of the Lord here is trying to reassure us that without the ego, we will be very happy. That's when we will have the peace we are seeking, or whatever you've brought to the psalm, abundance, joy, health, whatever it is that you're seeking. Without the ego, it's obtainable. It's not up to us to, quote, kill our ego. What it is up to us to do is listen to that voice of the infinite so that we can disregard the ego and let the infinite take care of the ego for us. And that's exactly what this verse is alluding to. For the oppression of the poor, for the sighing of the needy, now will I arise, saith the Lord. I will set him in safety from him that puffeth at him. When we are removed from our own ego tendencies, then that ego mind is no longer projecting those things onto the screen of space, and things seem to clear up spontaneously. We're no longer at the effect of these other people outside of us that seem so scary and so big. The words of the Lord are pure words, as silver tried in a furnace of earth, purified 7 times. Now, I love the 7 times here because for those of us who work angel magic, it's just like when we invoke the Shekinah, we invoke the Shekinah into each day of the week through each archangel. Purified 7 times means completely. You're completely purified. Now, it says the words of the Lord are pure words, as silver tried in the furnace of earth, purified 7 times. Think of it as happening now. Think of all of your own thoughts being purified by these words 7 times. Your whole experience being purified 7 times. Purified by the powers of the moon, by the powers of Mars, by the powers of Mercury, by the powers of Jupiter, by the powers of Venus, by the powers of Saturn, by the powers of the sun. Whatever your conception of those 7 ancient metaphysical powers are. Thou shalt keep them, O Lord, thou shalt preserve them from this generation forever. And that's already true. The infinite's already got you. The big joke to all of this is that you're already safe. You're already happy. You're already peaceful. You are already protected. You are not vulnerable. You're invulnerable. Nothing can destroy you. Nothing can harm you. And there's nothing to fear. You're asleep to that idea, having this walking nightmare, this walking hallucination based on the big lie of your ego and never questioning it. That's the bottom line of this world, is people are walking around like zombies, asleep, believing the things of this world and never questioning them. And here, it's giving you a real clear understanding that none of that's really happening. What's really happening is that you're safe and you're protected. And now you're asking that the infinite prove this to you, show this to you, take away everything that is distracting you from this truth, take away these illusions, take away the falseness so that you can experience only the truth. And what does that do for you? That brings you peace, because peace is your natural state. Anxiety is unnatural. And in fact, anxiety is foreign to the soul. The soul can't be anxious. There's no such thing. The soul can't exist in anxiety. And so if you're experiencing anxiety, it's because you're asleep to your soul and you're having a nightmare. One good thing about the anxiety is it's showing you that you're not experiencing the truth of your soul. And that once you experience the truth of who you are as a soul, that anxiety has to disappear. The wicked walk on every side when the vilest men are exalted. We think we're going to get some sort of gratification of our senses. We think we are going to be able to profit some way or another. And one of the problems with that is that the ego has things so upside down that what we think is profiting is actually horrible for us. All of what the ego has convinced us is profiting from it is horrible for us. Some of the things we are doing are called payoffs. For instance, if you're broke all the time, sometimes there's a payoff in being broke. You get to have an excuse why you can't do anything. You get to get sympathy from people. You get to have people pay for you to prove to you that they care about you. Those are the kinds of neurotic sorts of payoffs that the ego trades in. Now, the ego is so sly that it likes to keep that just under the level of consciousness, because if we looked at it realistically and logically, it knows we would disregard that. Very few people are going to look at one of those neurotic payoffs and say, oh yeah, that's really what I want. So it leads you through life with these bizarre little carrots on a stick. We don't really understand what they are. And that's how we prop up our ego. We think that somehow we're getting something good out of it. And we're not. We're not getting anything good out of the ego. Just like those people that prop up these dictators and things like that, they eventually fall horribly. If you prop up a narcissist trying to profit from them, you know the narcissist is eventually going to get you. You're eventually going to be ruined. The same thing goes with us. The ego's goal is to ruin us. The ego's goal is self-destruction. It's an idea based in insanity. The idea that I'm separate from my good, I'm separate from my creator, I'm separate from all of the other parts of the divine child of God, and therefore I must be destroyed. And so that's the ego's game, self-destruction. We don't want to prop up the ego anymore. We want to look to the infinite and ask that this be removed for us. And now that we've called, now that we've invoked, the infinite's on it. This is an active spell. So look forward to the dissolving of a lot of these anxieties and these problems right before your eyes. You're going to notice also over the next few weeks, especially if you keep coming back to this psalm, that a lot of the things that used to hook you stop having any luster to them. And you can just let them go with absolutely no problem. A lot of our addictions we think are going to be so hard to give up, just stop being interesting to us when the infinite's involved. They just stop being interesting to us. And if we do have a problem, we're led to the right programs, led to the right therapists, the right books, and the right resources in order to give up some of our own unhealthy thinking and our own unhealthy behavior. But the bulk of it just drops away of its own accord as a result of invoking the infinite and asking that our anxiety be relieved. Because you cannot just relieve anxiety in a vacuum. You have to relieve the cause of the anxiety. What's the cause of the anxiety? The idea that you're separate. The idea that you're alone. The idea that you want to destroy yourself. The idea that you're not good enough. Those big lies that the ego is constantly feeding you in a way that is trying not to call too much attention to itself so that you don't disregard it. Because that's the one power you have over the ego, disregarding it, turning away from it. And that's exactly what this psalm is giving you the power to do. So you just keep coming back to this psalm each and every day until you get a sense that things are working out for you. And once you get that sense of peace and certainty about whatever the situation was, that's an indicator that your spell has been cast and you can just move on to something else. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. Until next time, blessed be.